Howdy, I'm Tom. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the modifications, both outside and in, I've made of my Durston pack. It's a Durston Kakwa 55. Also tell you a little bit about the pack and the specifications and features, and a little bit about Durston Gear, the supplier. So some of the items I've done on the inside, some aren't really modifications, just gear I use. So Nylaflume bag for a liner. People use all sorts of liners, garbage bags, compactor bags, etc. I just like that because it kind of keeps the odor better. Inside against my back, I have a Gossamer Gear uh, thin fold pad that goes under my sleeping pad. Keeps everything from sliding around on the pad. And also I have a nice cushion between everything in the pack and me. Items I've added, I put a bladder in. Now, the bladder, there's a pocket for the hose, but that's about the extent that this ultralight pack makes for bladders. So typically I have a Dyneema bag that hangs from this bladder holder, as well as the bladder, which is a 2-liter. I don't have to take this out to refill. I'll show you that when I do the outside of the pack. The bladder holder goes on the Velcro over the pocket where the frame is. This is from an Etsy vendor, Some Dave Gear. I'll have a link to Dave's stuff on my website, which is oldmaninthehills.com, as well as on the bottom of the video. This wallet also hangs from the same place. It's, again, from Dave, Some Dave's Gear. I keep my key fob in here, debit card, a little cash, stuff I'm not going to need once I start the hike, but I'm going to want to have with me. So that's pretty much the inside. We'll do the outside next. Okay, a little bit about the modifications I've done on the outside. I've added a mesh back panel. Again, I'll put links to where you can get these things from. There's a couple out there, so I'll put both links in. I love this pack. I just wanted something against my back because I sweat a lot. So there's a lot of people that have done this. It seems to work quite well. This is very thin. It doesn't really take how the pack fits your back away, and it works quite well for me. I've added a Z-Pax lumbar pad. I just like that extra cushioning. I'm an older hiker. You have to make some allowances. Same with the shoulder pads. Now I'm a 21.5-inch torso. The shoulder pad from here to the hip belt is 19 inches. So these pads are going to ride a little high on me. Just trying to get them tighter, closer. The pack goes to about a 22-inch torso measurement. I'm pretty close to the top, so, and it gives me a little extra cushioning. I've also added the Z-Pax top side pockets. These are tie-ons. They come with the ties. There's 4 ties. The pack has places to tie to. Reason I do that is I like to have the gear that I'm setting up for my campsite that night in the pack, and the gear that I may need during the day outside the pack. Give you a good example. In this pocket I have my water filter kit, my first aid kit, and my bathroom kit. Now you may have to stop while you're hiking during the day, refill some water. You don't want to be unpacking the pack. You may have injured yourself, minor, maybe not so minor. Again, you don't want to be unpacking the pack looking for the first aid kit. You may have to, because of whatever you ate the night before, take a bathroom break. Now, a lot of people put that stuff back in the mesh pocket. I try to not to keep as much back here because it's weight further back from the center of gravity. The other pocket has my rain gear, rain jacket, rain. I'll talk more about that. I'm going to make some feature videos on my tents, my sleep system, my cook system, my rain system. There's a lot of new gear that's come out, and it's additions to traditional gear. So everything's become kind of a system. So you'll see me use that word a lot. The downside with these pockets is you lose the height here, and especially with the deep pocket. You see that pocket comes right up to the bottom of the pocket here. You can still put tent poles if you got an X-Dome, hiking poles, etc. in here. These will loosen up. This will come out. Makes a great holder up here for something tall, and there's room behind to put it. So these, for me, have worked out quite well. The other thing I do is I've got, again, from Some Dave Gear, side straps. Instead of rolling this up and putting the straps together in the top, you roll it up and you use these straps. They click right into the buckles that are already on the pack. Works fantastically. It's a much neater package. To me, it's a much tighter package. So I really, really like that aspect of the pack and Dave's little straps. So like I said, instead of putting this across and having that little handle thing up there which catches on branches, you just roll down, strap, and pull. And this hooks right into the same thing the side pockets do. Do it on both sides, and you're ready to go. Now, obviously, I don't have the gear in here. This would be a lot higher. It doesn't roll down this much. I have quite a bit of gear. Base weight. My base weight varies by season, depending on whether I'm taking colder weather stuff, a puffy, etc., or it's the middle of summer. So my base weight runs between 16 and 19 pounds. And I'm going to define how I define base weight. Typically, base weight is your pack and everything in it, not the clothes you're wearing, not consumables. Well, mine is, and the consumables part, water and food. There are people that will actually take the weight of their fuel container. Okay, that's metal. That's a base weight. The fuel in it's a consumable. We'll subtract that. I'm not doing that. That's too deep for me. So my base weight is, like I said, 16 to 19, depending on season. I typically hike fall and spring. Summer's too hot. I'm not a snow guy. If I'm camping in snow, the weather forecaster got the weather wrong. I can handle it. I have, probably will again, but I'm a fall and spring kind of guy. I like those temperature ranges. And like I said, my gear varies depending on temperature range. I will be doing videos, as I said before, on my different gear choices, why I made them, why I don't do certain things. I'm a firm believer in hike your own hike, so I'm not going to tell you what to do or what not to do. I'm just going to tell you what I do and why I do it, or certain times things I don't do and why I don't do them. What works for me may not work for you. I'm going to do a short video on what I am, what I'm not, give you a little bit more information about me, my background in hiking, and give you a base to say, okay, this is where this guy's coming from. We'll talk about the specs on the pack next and tell you a little bit more about it and the factory information. Some of the features on it, it's water resistant. The fabric's actually waterproof. The seams are not seam sealed. So I do a pack liner and I do a pack cover and I do a couple other things that I'll cover in a separate video. The pack has some great features. You have a hip belt that is, if you see, this is kind of a V. So the way the belt pulls is to the center on both sides. It tightens up fantastically. This belt rides on my hips better than any pack hip belt I've ever had. You have the hip pockets on both sides. One side has a zipper pocket. This is kind of where you'd keep, if you don't have an inside wallet pocket, your key fob, cash, etc. I use it for my electronics and couple other items. It has pockets which ride rather high on me. I keep my sunglasses in one. It has couplings where you can put, I keep a Garmin InReach Mini. I'll do a video on that. Some other stuff there. My bladder has a quick disconnect, which I didn't talk about earlier. So I can fill this without taking the bladder out of the pack, which is a fantastic tool. Shoulder straps on it are nice. They're S-shaped. It has load lifters, which I don't think I'd ever use a pack without. You have a Y-strap on top if you need to put something on top, bear canister, tent when it's wet, etc. You can strap it down there and hold it in pretty good. There's attachment points, which is what I've got the side pockets tied to. I believe those are actually a little larger now. It has a bladder tube opening, which is covered, so that works really well. Does not have the bladder pocket, so you need to put a bag in there or something to put it in. The internal volume of this pack, this is a large, is 49 liters. External is supposed to be about 15. The two side pockets add about 2.5 liters each. So I've actually got literally a 69 liter capacity pack. My last pack was a 70, and I had a lot heavier gear. So the pack, I'll show some of the features, like I said, from the website. You can click on my link and go right to this pack and read all about it. It's got an internal frame. It has a very thin pad between the frame stays. It's an aluminum frame that comes down on both sides here. It's tied in well with the hip belt. So he's put a lot of thought into this. There's a lot of people running this pack, and it is, like I said, my favorite pack so far, and I'm 60s. The manufacturer, Durston Gear, is ran by Dan Durston. One of the best things about this product line is his communications. Durston Gear is what's called a cottage industry. They're a very small company. They're not a huge, 10,000 employee company. They're a family-owned company, very few employees. They do a great job with the product, but where they excel is communications. Dan doesn't advertise. He uses social media. He follows social media. One of the most commented on and read sites on Facebook is actually the Durston Gearhead site. If you're on Facebook and you've never used it, put in Durston Gearheads and join. There's all kind of comments there. People come up with a problem. Somebody will, hey, I had that, I did this. Dan replies to many of those comments. He's on Reddit, he's on Instagram. People will post things, and Dan will put a reply in there. If you email them, it's a small company, they're not going to answer you in 2 minutes, but you're not going to get an automated answer. You're going to get an email back with an answer to your question. Might be a day, might be 2. I've never seen it take longer than 2. His gear is ordered in batches, so there's a lot of times when you want something, it's not available. They're pretty good about communicating when it's going to be available. This pack was available in the large, the small, and the medium, just came back into stock. So if you're interested, click on the link, look at it. Pricing, they're very competitive. I don't think that their pricing is more than anybody else's. I will say, if you're going to order a pack, get your torso measurement. Best place to do it, go to REI. They have a little vest thingy they put on you, and they'll give you a good measurement. Durston has the torso measurements for the small, medium, and large, as well as the hip belt measurements on their website. So get a good torso measurement. If you have to return it and swap out, they're very good about that. I think they're my favorite supplier just because of the communications. I have several suppliers that I'll mention in different videos that communicate very well, and as well as him, but I would say he's my top communicator. When I email him a question, I get an answer back. I get a suggestion. I get a comment. It's fantastic. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you want to look at my links, you can go to oldmaninthehills.com. That's my website. There's a tab on top for links. You'll see links to all my gear that I've done videos on. I will be putting a lighter pack out, and that'll have all my gear on it once I get some more gear videos done. And I appreciate your time, and happy hiking.